On this episode, a trans woman living with HIV held in solitary confinement for 6 years sues. Also, the boyfriend of an NY mom found dead in the trunk of her car pleads guilty to manslaughter charges. That and more. Chris Talk starts right now. Let's get into it. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Chris Talks. I am your host with the most, Chris Talks. All right, folks. Let's get into these crazy bugged out stories that Ed has gotten for us. Ed is not here today, so it is just me, y'all, flowing on my own. Just doing what I do. Y'all just got me today. So let's get right into these stories. All right, so check this out. Our first story has to deal with a trans woman living with HIV held in solitary confinement for 6 years in a suit. This is bugged out. Apparently, it is bugged out. So we're going to get into that story. Let's let our AI take this over right quick. Let's hit that. Hit it.
A transgender woman and former inmate who was held in solitary confinement for 6 years is suing the Missouri Department of Corrections, MODOC, for what is described as its unconstitutional and discriminatory policy against people living with HIV. The plaintiff, identified only as Jane Rowe, claims in the lawsuit filed last week she was held in solitary confinement between 2015 and 2021 at the Jefferson City Correctional Center, JCCC, because she was living with HIV. She is represented by Lambda Legal, the MacArthur Justice Center, and the law firm Shook, Hardy & Bacon. No person should be subjected to the inhumane and devastating effects of long-term solitary confinement. Conditions that Ms. Rowe faced every day for more than 6 years. Richard Seens, Lambda Legal Senior Attorney, Criminal Justice and Police Misconduct Strategist, said in a statement, "We filed this lawsuit to hold the Missouri Department of Corrections accountable for its use of an unconstitutional and discriminatory policy that singles out people living with HIV." Ms. Rowe was trapped in isolation with no way to challenge her conditions. MacArthur Justice Center Attorney, Shubra Ori, said, 6 years of that led Ms. Rowe to self-harm, suicidal ideation, and actual suicide attempts. This tracks with widespread consensus among the human rights experts, psychologists, physicians, and mental health authorities who say solitary confinement is tortuous and should be abolished. We seek justice for our client who endured 6 years of unwarranted solitary confinement. We will work to prevent this from ever happening to another human being. Gregory Wu, a Shook partner, said in a statement, the lawsuit, Roe v. Preside, et al., was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Missouri. In claims, MODOC's policy on incarcerated people living with HIV lacks any consideration of modern medicine and does not engage in individualized assessments. The lawsuit alleges that MODOC's policies and actions violated Roe's 8th and 14th Amendments. The Americans with Disabilities Act. In Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, Roe claimed she was denied the services, programs, and activities offered to other inmates because of her HIV status. Roe is seeking policy changes by MOCOD, monetary damages, and other unspecified relief.
Wow, that's crazy. That is really, really crazy. I don't know why they would treat somebody different because of a disease that they have. I don't think that's right, but then again, folks, who am I? This is a bugged out story. All right, so before I break this down real quick, I want to pay them bills right quick. So all the links and everything, they're right there on your screen. You already know what to do. Hit me up. Hit that notification, subscribe button. Also hit the likes and the comments definitely the comments. I do like to check out those comments, y'all. So hit those up. Also, check out our Facebook page where we post up inspirational and motivational content to help you through your day. So we do that. I think Ed does that every day. I don't know how many times a day that he does it, but I think he does it every day. But you could just go on that website and check us out on that. So, folks. Oh, also, I'd like to welcome all our new members. Let's get them a round of applause real quick. All our new members, all our new subscribers. Thank y'all for subscribing. It's a little thing to you, but it's a big thing to me. All right, so let's get into this story. Okay, so let me dissect this real quick and give you my view and my opinion on this story. To me, this story is one of those sad ones because this person, even though they are transgender, and even though they have what was it, STD, they have HIV, they are still a person, so they should still be treated. Okay, folks, they should still be treated the same way that any other person should be treated. Now, being in solitary confinement for 6 years because of a status that you have, can we give, where does this story bring us to? Let me pull this up on my big screen, y'all. It was Minnesota. It's Minnesota. So, this is crazy. Is it Minnesota? No, Massachusetts. No, it's Minnesota. Minnesota. The Minnesota Department of Corrections. Can we get them a dummy bell real quick? Another one. Sorry about the static, y'all. But we got to get them that dummy bell because what they did to this person is not humane. It's not right in no shape, form, or fashion. Is it right, or should anybody be in solitary confinement for 6 years? To me, that don't make no sense. Just because of their health status. If he was doing something like he was going crazy or something like that, if this person, well, let me not say he, but if this person was going crazy or something like that, then I could see that happening. That you putting that person in solitary confinement for their own safety, only letting them out during certain times, to get a little rec time or whatever. But other than that, no. And I think this something like that should be unlawful. This should not be lawful to keep somebody in solitary confinement for 6 years to the point where they're going crazy and they're wanting to kill themselves. To me, that's just a little bit too far. It's just a little bit too far. That's just way too far. This person, they sue, and that's the question: should they win? Or to any of my listeners, do you think that they might win? Do you think that this is the case? Do you really think that this is the case? Do you really think this person has a legitimate case? If you was in this situation, do you think you would have a legitimate case? That's why I asked you. Okay, there's no comments for me to read off with this one, but y'all know what it is. All right, and that's my view and that's my opinion on this topic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the second story, which is a rather sad one. The boyfriend of a New York City mom found dead in the trunk of a car pleads guilty to manslaughter charges. I don't know this story. I'm hearing it just like you. So I'm gonna let my AI take over. And let's play that story. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
A New York man pleaded guilty to manslaughter after his girlfriend, with whom he shared 2 children, was found dead and stuffed inside the trunk of her car in Queens. The district attorney said. Kareem Flake, 30, initially faced charges including second-degree murder, kidnapping, weapon possession and tampering with evidence for the death of Destiny Smothers in November 2020. He pleaded guilty to a first-degree manslaughter charge. Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz announced Wednesday. This young mother was brutally murdered and her family left to agonize, not knowing what happened to her as her body lay in the trunk of an abandoned car for months. Katz said in a press release. Hopefully this plea will afford some comfort to her loved ones. Authorities previously said the 26-year-old Smothers was found in the trunk of a Toyota Camry with no plates in March 2021. Months after she went missing in New York City following a birthday party in November. The city medical examiner determined that Smothers died from a gunshot to the head. According to Katz, in her death was ruled a homicide. Smothers, a mother of 2 from Troy, in Rensselaer County, traveled to Queens in early November for a funeral but went out 2 nights before that service to a local bowling alley to celebrate her 26th birthday. According to charges, no one saw her again afterward. Flake later told Smothers' family the 2 got into an argument while in Smothers' black 2011 Toyota Camry. At some point during that fight, he said Smothers got out of the car and walked off, leaving her purse, wallet, keys and ID behind. He actually got in my car and took me to where he said she jumped out in Astoria. Took me and my family, said Tima Fowler, a cousin of Smothers. I don't understand how he did that. But he did it and we found the car. The car is found now. She's found. Smothers' family said Flake went missing shortly after, according to a senior NYPD official. The car had been abandoned and parked near the intersection of 134th Avenue and 151st Place in South Jamaica for a while before sanitation tow trucks came to pick it up. Neighbors said that the car, which was later determined to be Smothers, had been parked there for months, and that abandoned cars are common in the area. The tow truck crew drove off with the vehicle, then noticed a problem with a tire and pulled over on Lefferts Boulevard to pop the trunk and look for a new one. An NYPD official said at the time Smothers' body was found. Police said the truck made it to South Ozone Park when the decomposing remains were discovered. A senior NYPD official with direct knowledge of the case told News 4 that clothing on the body matched what Smothers was wearing when she was reported missing, with no further signs of trauma. Aside from the deadly gunshot wound, her ID was also on her, the official said, and the body was in the fetal position. The couple's 2 young children had been staying at Smothers' mother's home in the Bronx at the time she went missing. The family got concerned when Smothers didn't show up there to pick up her clothes for the funeral she planned to attend November 5. She loves those children and would do anything for them, Aunt Shireen King told Dateline, which covered the case in late November. She wouldn't just leave them. And there's no way in hell she's not calling her mama. My sister is just devastated. Flake, also from Troy, was arrested April 9, 2022, in Florida, before being extradited to New York. 2 senior law enforcement officials with direct knowledge of the investigation told NBC New York that Flake was arrested at a Florida train station on another domestic violence charge against a woman he was dating. On the run for more than a year, this defendant is now in custody and charged with the brutal murder of his girlfriend, who was also the mother of his 2 young children. Katz said in the press release. This is the worst possible outcome for any individual experiencing intimate partner violence. And we express our condolences to the victim's family. Attorney information for Flake was not immediately available. He will be sentenced Sept. 28 to a prison term of 22 years, in accordance to the plea deal.
Ooh, that's a lot to take in. A lot to take in. But at least, at least there was some type of justice found for this family. We send everybody, me and all my staff here, we send our condolences out to this family for their loss. God be with you. Wow, that's a lot. That is a whole lot to take in. But this person, can we give him the dummy bell? One more time. Because what this person did, and as I say all the time, was something that was just stupid and foolish. All he had to do was leave. Simply leave. That's all he had to do, was leave the relationship, and he would have been fine. Why stay if everything is not going right? If everything is not going right, ladies, folks, I tell you all the time, just leave. Don't stay. Just leave. Just leave. Just leave. Because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not worth going to jail. It's not worth your life. It's not worth spending the rest of your life behind bars. It's not worth it. And this woman was the mother of 2 children. So 2 children now both lost their mother and father because they couldn't get along. Ladies and gentlemen, to all my listeners, I said it once, I say it again, and I say it a million times. Just walk away. If you can't get along, just walk away. It's always better if you could just walk away from the situation. If you could just take yourself for 1 second, instead of taking all that anger and boiling it up and ruining your life and everybody else around you, just take 1 second and go, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to walk away from this situation. I'm going to walk away from this issue. I'm going to walk away from this problem. And trust me, I've done it. You will save a lot of trouble. And then this woman was found, which is very sad that she was found in a fetal position in the trunk of his car. I mean, people, let's be honest. They go and track your car, license plate, serial number, all of that. I mean, come on. This guy, which I said before, and I'll say again, is an idiot. I'm sorry about that. Is an idiot. He's an idiot. Can we give him the bruh? Bruh. Yeah, you're an idiot. Bruh. Very foolish, very senseless crime. And these 2 children are going to grow up without a mother and a father, and probably have to be raised by their grandparents. Let's give the grandparents, can we give them a round of applause for stepping in for their granddaughter and doing what they have to do. They shouldn't have to be put in this position to do that. But, I mean, these things happen. So, shout out to the grandparents, our parents that stepped in. And that's my point. And that's my view on this topic. Let's get it. We getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. I want to thank all my listeners for tuning in. You could have been hold on. I forgot. I'm sorry. Listen. I'm sorry about that. I forgot that earlier. Listen, if you I failed to mention it earlier, but if you have anything that you're promoting, anything like that, anything that you're doing and you want to promote it on my show, please hit me up, DM me, and we could talk about prices or whatever. I'm sorry, I forgot about that earlier, y'all. I'm so sorry. But we could talk about that or whatever. But check it out. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. Also, stay blessed and not stressed. Until next episode, peace. I see y'all later.